Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Claudia and thank you so much for watching. So as you saw, I drew it first with the pencil, really thick and hard. Well, I tried to make it as loose as possible with the strokes with the pencil. Sorry, bear with me, this is the first time me filming and talking at the same time, so I'm trying to concentrate. And then I just passed with the rubber, as you saw a bit, so some hard, a little bit harder on some bits that I really don't want, and then some really light, so you can see like I'm very loosely going with the rubber on top, so to remove the excess of the pencil. And yeah, let's get started. And as you can see, I'm going to try to show it to you guys. So normally I follow an image that I see on Pinterest, or even in a picture if I took it. And in this case I look for moisture, and the thing what I look for an image is like to be clear. So in this case you can see is a white background, and then it's just have the plant, and the plant doesn't have many leaves, because I didn't want much or many leaves, because I was just wanted to focus on the main leaves. And for me, what I try to look on an image is to be clear, and for me to try to draw it. So it doesn't need to be perfect. We don't want perfect things, and I try to draw it as much as what I see basically. And yeah, so that's what we're going to draw here. I already have my gouache, so I'm using gouache. The gouache normally that I use, the brand that I use is Holbein Artist, which is not my favorite, to be honest. And my favorite so far is Winsor Designer's Gouache. And the reason why it's my favorite is because it's more affordable. It's a good quality gouache, to be honest, and you just can find it anywhere, and even it does have a few extra different colors that you can buy, with different things. While the Holbein one I find a bit harder. It is expensive, and I don't know, I just don't feel as comfortable as I do. Like when I take the gouache out of Winsor & Newton, it's more softer to take it out from the tube, while this one's a bit harder. So yeah, and plus the tubes are very tiny compared to the price to the other ones. So I already have some gouache here from my previous paintings that I did for the March bullet journal setup. So I'm just going to use these paints. Just going to mix a little bit more, because I did put a bit extra water, and maybe I think I put too much water, but it's alright, just to show how it is. So I'm just going to take the chest of the thing. So now what I'm going to do, so I see that this leaf, sorry, like cat's hairs. So I know that the leaf on the back is lighter color. I know that the stems of the flower of the plant is lighter color as well, and I know that this one is a bit darker, but it's still kind of lighter color. So I always like to go lighter a little bit, so the same way as I do with watercolor. So you always go lighter first, and then you add in color to make it darker. So I try to do the same sometimes with gouache, just because sometimes the result, if I go too dark, then it's just like it's not the result that I wanted. And then I just try to go with the drawing and just paint it around it, the strokes that I done before with the illustration. So it doesn't matter if you see the strokes for now on the with gouache, because this is very watery gouache at the moment, and the more thicker the paint that you take from the tube, the best it is. Like, so it will be a little bit more darker, or you won't be able to see these kind of strokes. But because I'm just giving like one first layer on it, just to see how it looks, and just to give a little bit of color. And one of the things that that is important to do with gouache is have a precise brush. So you don't want a soft brush to paint gouache, for example. You want a brush that's a bit harder, and is very, as you can see, is very thin on the end of it. So it's very kind of sharp. And this is a round one. So this is very cheap brush that I have, and it's synthetic, is Da Vinci, and it's is the brand Fit, and is the best brushes that I have so far. And I try a few other, I haven't like tried too many different brands of brushes, to be honest. And I think this, for me, it's just perfect. And I've been trying to look for other brushes because I wanted more brushes like for details, and I think I need to look for like acrylic brushes, some kind of type. They'll be quite good, and I don't mind, like, you know, it will be nice to use more of non-synthetic brushes, but I think they're really good quality, and they do the job really well, and I just love it because it's really great to give details. And okay, so now we gave a little bit of a first layer. Now I know there is another lift here, and one thing with gouache is that I can correct it if I need to. And that's one of the things that I really love about gouache, is the be able to correct a mistake that I done, and adding on top. So this is the one that I have. I have the olive green from the Winsor in Hinton, and then I have the sap green. And this is mostly the greens that I use, and what I do is just like, if I need a darker color, I just mix a little bit of black in it. If I need a lighter color, of course I mix a bit of white. Okay, so now I want the themes. So I know that one of the things to see is that the light is coming from that side, even so we can see that the leaf, this leaf, and these ones are a bit darker, and these ones are a bit lighter. So, but I know that the light comes on that direction, so I'm gonna try is like do these ones a bit lighter, which we've done. So now we're gonna try to do these ones a bit darker. Oi. And these ones are the easiest ones because it's just adding color. So I can see that it's still not as dark as I wanted. So I'm going with a darker gouache and just going on over it. So one thing I haven't told you guys is that the sketchbook that I'm using is from Jackson's, and the paper I think is 120 GSM. So it's not, they do say it's for watercolor, but I guess only if you use really strong, like high pigment watercolor, not like watery watercolor, because I tried and didn't went very well. So I use a lot this for gouache, and it's just great because it's like it doesn't pass through, as you can see, and it doesn't wobble much, so it's great for that. So as you can see, I did cover the other leaves, and what I'm doing now is just like, because I know the light comes from this direction, and I know this one's a bit darker, so I'm just trying to dark out a little bit of the steam. And one of the things that I'm going to do is that I'm gonna to clean the brush, and then I'll just go over it with the brush slightly wet. So I did clean the brush a little bit on the cloth, and I was just going over a little bit so it can gives a little bit of that depth, and kind of like little gradient. And I was just going over again on this side with a darker color, so just give that little bit distinctions between one thing and the other. Oh, I forgot to tell which this is around, this is a 0. The other one that I use is a 4 for the bigger, and when I pass with the lighter color I use a 4. So normally that's the sizes that I use: 4, 0, 2, 1. These normally the ones that I use the most, and then I use this one, which is 3 of 0. No idea how to describe this, but it's smaller than a 0, basically. So that's really, really, really tiny for tiny details. That's mostly what I use. You might hear some background noises from my cat. She wants to play, and she's been playing around with things. She already played with plants. She already went to pick up the toy that she really likes and wants me to play with it. And she already went to inspect Luna that she's sleeping, trying to see if she's awake so she can play with her. And now she's playing with a roll off from a washi tape. It went a bit darker than I wanted, to be honest, but it's still a little bit lighter than the others, which is good. And now I'm gonna try to pick up, so I don't want much water. I already used a lot of water on this side of things, so I just want really light color. Green, and I'm gonna use this one, the smallest one. I'm gonna wet it first a little bit, clean a bit, because sometimes I forget to clean my brushes. And so I'm just gonna use the really lighter color, and I'm gonna try to do the veins of the leaves. And one thing with gouache is that the color that you see after it dries normally goes a little bit darker. So you always need to pay attention to that. But this is not too bad. And it's not in the color that it shows on the picture, but I really not interested in that. I was just interested on the shape of the leaves, of the shape of the veins. So I'm adding a little bit of detail here with adding the soil, and this is me finishing this painting. I had 2 other plants to show as a tutorial paintings, but I thought the video was being too long to be just in one YouTube video, so I just decided to show this plant, and then I'll probably join the other 2 plants in a different YouTube video. Thank you so much for watching. If you watched it till now, leave in the comments and let me know if you try to do this plant. You can follow me on Instagram, yeah, thank you so much for watching. Comment, like, don't forget to subscribe, and thank you so much. Bye.